it's just so exhausting covering Chelsea right now, gang. I hope your mental health is doing okay, because odds are if you're watching this, you're a Chelsea fan and you're just being dragged through the drama, pain, and uncertainty. Probably like I feel right now. So, we're going to react to more, not stuff, drama, nonsense today. Of course, I uploaded earlier after Liam Rosenior's press conference speaking about how he sanctioned Enzo Fernandez. Since then, the footballing media has erupted with what seems to be Chelsea panic briefs to the likes of Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, Cave Solikol of Sky Sports. Going, don't worry, we're going to sign loads of superstars. We've seen the problem, we've seen the light, and the superstars of Premier League proven players are coming. Don't you worry, guys. Of course, we've also seen Valentin Barco links from Argentinian media. More Argentine-related news. Who, by the way, is a mustard player. I understand the optics of Valentin Barco coming to Chelsea is not one that works for Chelsea fans right now, because he is, I know he played for Brighton, but not successfully, and Brighton. He's young. He's not Premier League proven. He's from Strasbourg. This is not the tonic that the Chelsea fans have been looking for. But what I can and will say about Valentin Barco is he is sick. He's a great player. I want the same as everyone else. Yeah, I want the model to be changed. I want a proper team to be built. And I want the children to stop misbehaving, personally. But I will maintain my position that I've held. Barco is an absolute sickhead. He's the kind of player that would be in a PSG midfield and would slot right in. And if Chelsea don't buy him from their own sister club, Strasbourg, he will 100% go to another super club. Make what you will of that, yeah. You might be like, Jan, we don't want him. He's not the kind of player we want. Jan, we want a Premier League proven superstar left winger, centre back, goalkeeper. Yeah, I agree. I'm down. I'm with you. I'm with you, my friend. I'm locked in. But just Barco's a sick footballer. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's what we need. I understand how he's like a triggering story to come out because he's like a young player from Strasbourg who's not a Premier League proven player. Yeah, I am with you. Don't for a second think that I'm not, but he's also an absolute amazing talent. But whatever, you know. We're going to get into all of it today. I'm going to see Javier Pastore, of course. He's Enzo Fernandez's agent. Pastore, that blows my mind. I just remember him on FIFA. Just always getting him in my midfield on FIFA donkeys years ago. Romano's come out. Poured a little bit of cold water saying the Barco deal isn't done, but also reiterated some stuff about Chelsea signing superstars. Guys, this is 1000% a club media briefing exercise. Now, it's not to say it isn't true. It's not to say they're not going to buy like a lot of great players. Maybe they will. Maybe they will, and we'll all be happy. But, you know, we can all agree, regardless of position, and I think a lot of Chelsea fans are aligned right now on how we feel. People might fluctuate slightly on where their ire is directed, whether it's like sporting directors, whether it's Blue Co as an entity, where perhaps maybe it's more Clear Lake and the sporting directors rather than a Todd Bowley. Do you know what I mean? But what I keep saying is, I pinned the comment in the last video. We're gonna hear what Pastore said in just a moment. We're gonna have a look. We're gonna have a look at this, gang. Enzo Fernandez's Chelsea punishment is unfair, says agent, which is Javier Pastore. It still blows my mind. We're gonna get into it all today, basically. So basically, keep your powder dry. We're gonna go step by step. We'll speak about Barco. We'll speak about Enzo Cucurella. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, for what I pinned in the last comment, it's not even Schadenfreude. You can enjoy the sporting, and I've been very consistent on this. I think there's an air of, I can only call it arrogance from this sporting hierarchy at Chelsea to think they can operate in the way they have and it just work. You know, they've just come into it at Chelsea, a big establishment, like, yeah, we'll do stuff like this and we'll be better than everyone else and we're like, you know, the disruptors. Even though, again, to be consistent, I do like a handful of their signings, and I do think it's certain signings that we wouldn't have perhaps signed under the previous regime. Estevao, Santos, Palmer's, you know, we don't sign those in the Abramovich era, but we sign other superstars. But they are young and exciting. But they are also reaping what they've sown. Now, two things can be true. I did say this. You can be pleased that the sporting directors are reaping the rotten fruits of their flawed labour, you know, reaping what they sowed. Yeah, whatever the analogy was I used before. But also, and we're going to listen to what Pastore says, I just disagree with how Enzo's behaved. It's not just the, you know, laughing wink wink about Madrid. It's, you know, the comments after PSG. Maybe it's misguided. And he is trying to get this new contract at Chelsea. But look, a lot of Chelsea fans across all social media platforms have said, yeah, man, this is not cool. You know, Chelsea managers of old would have chucked him in with the under-23s. We're about to hear Pastore's comments. And I understand he's representing his client here. He's the agent. And I understand what he's saying. And it's be interesting to read. I've read it already, but to react with you guys. But come on. He was twerking for Madrid. Like, he was. He could so easily. Cucurella, who's from La Masia, he's from Barcelona. He's a Barcelona fan. Said, "Oh, it'll be hard because that's where I'm from and that's my sort of club. That's my club. But I'm happy in London and I don't want to leave." Enzo doesn't come from Real Madrid, and we need to remember how Enzo got to Chelsea from Benfica. There were suggestions of how he got to Benfica as well. Similar sort of Courtois methodology from Enzo. Now, I'm not calling Enzo a snake. I'm just saying there's sort of a precedent there for how he's manufactured moves previously. What he did and what Cucurella did are different. Cucurella questioned the hierarchy, how it serves the senior players. Enzo was a little bit more twerking for Madrid while wearing the captain's armband. And look, guys, I don't endorse that. Yeah, many of you don't as well. I know some people are split on this. Try not to argue amongst yourselves. We all want what's best for Chelsea here. But that, I don't endorse it. Anyway, we're going to get into it now. So let's go. Alrighty, so this is wild. Very, very quickly, the Athletic, Mario Cortegana of the Athletic contacted Javier Pastore, who of course is Enzo Fernandez's agent. He says some interesting stuff. Now, I'm not going to share screen all of it. I just want to show you the article for reference here, but I will read you through it. Enzo Fernandez's agent had called Liam Rosenior's decision to drop the Chelsea midfielder, quote, completely unfair, and says his comments during the international break were not intended to disrespect the club. But of course, we're not stupid. I'm sorry, if you saw it, the post PSG stuff, like, I will see if I'm at Chelsea next season. Firstly, you are wearing the captain's armband. You do not say that. And then going on a stream and wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Which club? Laughing, smiling in Madrid. Which club in Madrid? How about I'm at Chelsea right now? I just need to get that out of the way. I'm sorry, again, call me old school. You don't do that at Chelsea. I mean, whatever, football, maybe football's passing me by and it's changing and it doesn't matter what shirt you wear anymore. You're allowed to disrespect the club and whatever and this, that and the other, but whatever. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So his agent, who is Pastore, again, blows my mind. The Athletic talks had held with Chelsea's over-renewing. Oh, he told The Athletic, that they've been talking to Enzo Fernandez about renewing his contract. So he wants a new contract, by the way, which runs till 2032, but the agreement was yet to be reached. I think basically he wants more money. He wants more money. He's behaving in such a way he wants more money. If the parties are unable to agree on terms after the World Cup, Pastore said the Argentina international intends to explore other options. Well, there you go. I mean, that's off the bat. You know, he's trying to put Chelsea over a barrel, basically. He says, yeah, give me money. He basically wants money. Is he worth that money? That's up for you to decide. I think by the way, he's not on bad money. I think he's on like a 180 flat with incentivized bonuses. That way he can earn more. You know. Do you think he's worth to be like the highest paid player in Chelsea squad? You make the decision. You're the viewer. You tell me. Rosenior announced in the press conference, of course, that Fernandes will not be made available for the next 2 matches. For me, it's a one-match ban. He was never going to feature in the Port Vale match, so it's essentially a one-match ban. And by the way, for doing this kind of stuff in yesteryear for Chelsea, real Chelsea teams, like the proper Chelsea teams, it would have caused big. Sorry, I had to take a call quickly. Yeah, so essentially, yeah, like I said, yesteryear, Chelsea coaches, your Mourinho's, your Conte's, heck, your Tuchel's, really, anyone really, if they were like flirting with other clubs and this, that and the other while in contract negotiations, they would have got chucked with the under-23s for a while. But, yeah, there you go, Pastore's saying he's intending to look at other clubs. Rosenior announced, of course, he will have the 2-match ban. I think, for as far as I'm concerned, it's a 1-match ban. I think he's got off lightly, really. The 25-year-old has cast doubt over... By the way, before you guys criticise me, I endorse questioning the model in the appropriate way. Cucurella did the right thing, and I'm happy Cucurella did the right thing. He said, look, senior players who have been here for a while have questioned this. And he's not being punished, and if he's spoken about, because he's respectful about Chelsea, and he's highlighted it. If Enzo could have done the same thing, he could have been like, I'm really proud to be playing for Chelsea, a massive club in London, the biggest club in London. I'm really proud to be wearing the captain's armband right now for Chelsea Football Club, but I have concerns. You know, if he did that, yeah, that is calling out the sporting hierarchy and the ownership for a dysfunctional structure right now, respectfully, rather than being like, ooh, Madrid. And if you look at Enzo's history, there's a precedent for that. That's different to what Cucurella did. And that's probably why he's been sanctioned and Cucurella hasn't. But rather unsurprisingly, Javier Pastore feels differently. The 25-year-old has cast doubt over his Chelsea future, of course, after the PSG game. He was talking about, like, you know, we'll see what happens after the season. And then, of course, he went on a live stream and said he'd love to live in Madrid. You know, I really like Madrid. It's very similar to Buenos Aires. Of course, he was then asked what club in Madrid, and he just sort of gave a little laugh. Helpful. How's that helpful in any way? Rosenior said Fernandes crossed the line. Many Chelsea fans believe the same, and indeed non-Chelsea fans, by the way. I've seen on social media that people, you know, United fans, other rivals, for whatever you care their opinion is, have said similar stuff. You know, they were taking the mickey out of Chelsea for our sort of player twerking for Madrid, and I'm done with that. Hazard handled it well. Rudy sort of, you know, he had a tricky time, but, you know, when Courtois completely snaked us. So Javier Pastore said this. Yeah, so he's come out in defense of his player. Enzo didn't understand the situation. When the coach told him, he accepted it because he's a highly professional guy. Good. Who's always fully committed to wherever he is and respects his decisions. Good, because you are getting paid about £180,000 a week. Mate, you know. We don't, and you did sign a contract for like 10 years, by the way, on that rate, by the way. It's worth mentioning that. The punishment because he doesn't mention any other club. He inferred a club, by the way. Or say he wants to leave Chelsea. He inferred he'd want to leave Chelsea because of the PSG, post-PSG comments. Far from it. Disagree, Pastore. Look, can I just interject here? I'm happy for Enzo to stay. I'm not necessarily happy for him to wear the armband again, but it is worth mentioning the way the club protected him in his own controversial moments with what happened with the Argentina national team. I couldn't give two sods if Blueco left today. But I still have to speak about my club, Chelsea Football Club, and how I feel about Chelsea and what it represents as a badge. I'm not going to let anyone, take a dump on my club's shirt, badge and armband because they have like their own ambitions changing in a moment. Do you know what I mean? He only mentions Madrid, the city, because he was asked which city he'd like to live in one day. It was so pointed, man. And because he's the language is similar to Buenos Aires, it's logical. It's only natural for an Argentine to say that. Oh, is that the reason? And also because of the culture, the weather. But at no point does he say he wants to leave Chelsea or London. Again, compare it to what... Okay. He's just... Maybe he's just really naive, and maybe this is what the racial song French thing was, the naivety of him not knowing. Maybe Enzo Fernandez is just super naive and doesn't understand the ramifications of his actions and words. He's not that young anymore, and if he's supposed to be a leader in the dressing room wearing the armband, he should be cerebral and lucid. Unless he's just trying to do a come and get me to Real Madrid. That's what people have been talking about. I listened to the Football Ramble podcast today. None of them are Chelsea fans. And they were all like, yeah, it's a come and get me. Do you know what I mean? I understand why Pastore is saying this because he's the agent. But this is the reality. I received a message from the club on Thursday, which is yesterday at time of recording, says Pastore. While Enzo was back travelling to London, they told me they wanted to speak to me about the comments, and then they sent the link to Enzo's words. I replied that it was no problem, that he'd also seen the comments, that he'd watched the interview he gave, and at no point did he show a lack of respect towards the club. Personally disagree. His teammates, or the fans, or anything else. Then why do many fans feel that there's been a lack of respect shown? I'll say it again. He didn't say he wants to leave or that he'd rather live in Madrid than London, or that he did. No, he did say that, essentially. He's not disrespecting anyone. Again, disagree. When they sent me the message, I replied, and they didn't reply back. I mean, that wasn't a surprise. By the way, in all this, I'm not defending Chelsea's hierarchy. I think they're a bunch of knobheads. But I'm defending my club. The badge. It needs to mean something. Chelsea's bigger than Blueco. They are the custodians. Believe it or not, Chelsea was bigger than Roman Abramovich. Chelsea Football Club has been around for a very long time. And it means something. Yeah, the badge means something. The armband means something. And you can have all your, political positions. I get it, I understand. But the disrespect is palpable. And again, look. I like Enzo Fernandez as a player. I like how he's passionate. I like how he's a winner. And he did learn, I think, from the controversy on the Argentine bus. Maybe we'll move past this and he'll learn as well. Although I do think there's a very good chance he's going to go. That's how I feel at the moment. This might be a bit of a longer video, guys, because, So The Athletic asked him, do you think it's fair? He says the punishment is completely unfair, banning the player for 2 matches, which moreover is also absolutely crucial for Chelsea because of the qualifications Champions League. He's one of the team's most important players, which he is. Let's not be churlish here. Alongside others, of course, but he has proven himself to be a leader, a key player, a backbone of the Chelsea side. Yeah, but this has all been undermined, Pastore. I think it's too harsh given the situation. There's no justification why he's been banned. But also, you don't understand. There is again, who do you believe in these briefs? Chelsea players. Reece James, Chelsea's captain. A lot of people say greatest footballer in the squad right now. What do you think Reece James thinks of this? Who loves Chelsea, who would never leave. Pastore, well, it's not his job to think of what Reece James thinks. But not everyone's going to be sitting in the dressing room, his teammates, his captain, Reece, lots of the fan base, obviously the club, and think, oh, that's good, Enzo said that. He's not, I understand what his position is here, but he's naive to suggest otherwise. He does say, I understand Chelsea's position and that the club's directors following the reaction to what he said, but the fact is he never mentioned to the club he wanted to leave. It's the inference, it's the insinuation though, isn't it, from both the interviews, post-PSG and this. What was reported in the media and the responsibility of the journalists who drew their own conclusions. You entire footballing consuming people. I understand the club situation, but I don't understand the sanction. Which is I get it, it's his agent, he's going to see this. Have there been negotiations regarding a renewal? He says there had been talks for a contract. Yes, we started discussing around December or January, but we couldn't reach an agreement. Enzo's contract still has 6 years to run. Don't forget that, Javier. We decided not to renew because the terms wasn't right for the player. Given Enzo's what he's capable of today, he deserves much more than he's currently earning. So basically, he wants much more money. They couldn't reach an agreement just yet with 6 years left on this deal. So he started doing little cheeky things about Madrid. That's the genuine reality of it all, guys. And if you think otherwise, look, he's rightly, he can criticize the hierarchy, the sporting direction, and as unsavory some might find that, I do endorse it, as I did Cucurella. But obviously, this seems a little bit more cynical than that, sadly. We have reached an agreement. We haven't reached an agreement, and he may be annoyed, and he may be that this annoyed the club that he didn't agree to what was being offered. Well, he's got 6 years left on his deal, though. Why would they be annoyed? They're probably doing him a favour. He's a hugely important player, but these are things that have to be managed. I look at the sporting and financial aspect of the player's situation and didn't see the renewal coming to fruition because they weren't very realistic to his current situation. They want more money. We felt rather than renewing on terms that wouldn't make the player happy, it was better to leave things as they are, focusing on playing and performing well and going to, qualifying for the Champions League, giving 100%, waiting for the World Cup, and after that, if there is no agreement, to explore other options. Let me ask you this. Does Enzo Fernandez, who's by, definition not proper Chelsea, because, he jumped around, went to River Plate, went to Benfica, pushed to Chelsea quickly, looking at opportunities. He's career driven, which is fine. That's his prerogative. Does he deserve a bigger salary at Chelsea than Captain Reece James? You make your decision on that. You want your decision of that by saying, look, if you don't give us loads of money, they're trying to hold Chelsea for ransom. We'll explore options. But what are your options with 6 years left on your deal, mate? What, put in a transfer request and they'll hate this, Chelsea. Him saying, we're going to explore, because speaking to The Athletic, saying we're going to explore our options. Does he want to stay at Chelsea? Straight question from The Athletic. He's the backbone and leader of the team. Is he totally, though? It's only natural that from a sporting perspective, he's happy to be at Chelsea. Is he? Doesn't effing look it like it, mate, the way he's been moving. He won major trophies last year and earned the respect of the entire Premier League. Maybe ask the entire Premier League. And all the fans, who I wouldn't say they're all unison pleased, but I understand this, the agent speaking here. And when a player is performing like that on the pitch, of course he's happy where he is. Again, doesn't look like it with his recent behaviours. Then there are other factors, whether it's salary, respect, or yada, yada, yada. I mean, it is money. He goes on to speak about the 2-match ban. Finally, does Enzo fear any reproach from the fans or teammates? No, in the dressing room, he always says things clearly to his teammates. He's a leader. We've actually heard briefings that his teammates aren't happy with his behaviour of late, but his agent is going to say otherwise. And Enzo wants to apologise to any fan who's felt offended. Good! And if that's legitimate, I would accept Enzo Fernandez's apology, because he does give everything on the pitch. And if he is going to stop making kissy faces at Real Madrid and start talking about paella and stop, and just basically start behaving a bit more like a captain, then yeah, it could all be water under the bridge. But at the moment, it feels very volatile. He's never spoken of another club or that he wants to leave Chelsea or London. This was an interpretation. Oh, come on, mate. Why was it in this story from global footballing media if this was just a random interpretation? It's so naive, but I understand why he's coming out strong like that. But he's saying, look, we want more money, or he's going to explore his options. And by exploring his options, it will mean Enzo Fernandez handing in a transfer request and refusing to play for Chelsea. And maybe he will Thibaut Courtois us. Maybe he will do a Thibaut Courtois, refuse to turn up to training until he gets a move to Real Madrid, like Courtois did to Chelsea. And if he did, I'm pretty sure Chelsea match-going fans won't receive that well. Now, it's worth mentioning and reiterating again, I do like how this is biting the sporting directors right where it hurts, because they are reaping what they sowed. But as well. I had to mention that as well. We are going to speak now about can only be described as like a relentless barrage of Chelsea Football Club briefings to their most trusted lieutenants in the media. Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, all sorts. There was Argentinian ESPN report saying the Valentino Barco deal is done. Now, this, of course, will be rather triggering to a lot of Chelsea fans because we do want seniority, experience, Premier League proven players, of which that was one of the briefings. They're going to sign Premier League proven players. And Valentin Barco is not that. He's a very young player playing in League the sister club Strasbourg. Now, he's an interesting case because many of you will have watched him. He's excellent. He's an excellent, well-talented footballer. He looks like a PSG-style footballer, like, these sort of Vitinhas, Ruiz sort of vibes, Neves. He would fit in that kind of midfield. And if he didn't go to Chelsea, if Chelsea didn't peel him away, he would be at a different big club. It's just as simple as that. You could still criticize that and say he's not the type of player we need, which is totally fine. And then, let Strasbourg make loads of money on him and sell him for 50 million to a PSG, or apparently Bayern Munich were very interested in him. Again, believe the brief if you want. It's probably true because he's good. And then, good luck to Strasbourg making lots of money on him, because we're not going to pay that money that the other suitors will pay because Chelsea owns Strasbourg. So he's a weird case. I understand why he'll be triggering for some, because it's just a freaking Strasbourg youngster with no Premier League experience. So I understand why that would trigger a lot of people. I'm using at CFC Pice here on X. He's citing what Fabrizio Romano has said on a recent video. Again, let's be honest, let's be totally clear. It's a briefing. Chelsea, excuse me, are now open to adding more players with an immediate effect. Immediate impact, excuse me. This will be in addition to youth talents, maybe the aforementioned Valentin Barco. These targets will be players who maybe you don't have to wait till 6 months to see an impact. They'd be coming in straight away to make an impact. The message from the club is clear, quote, "We want to go for trophies. You will see young talents plus experienced players this summer." Now, this, of course, is a major panic briefing from Chelsea Football Club after what's been a very damaging 10 days that led up to what is a very damaging international break. He did go on to speak about Cucurella in a little bit more detail. Barco first in a little bit more detail. Barco could become a new Chelsea player. It's not done yet, but there's strong chances it could happen. It will happen. Also, Scaloni is considering to take him on to the World Cup, who's very excited about this talent. The Argentinian international. I mean, he's an amazing young player. Again, I'm not gonna get angry at Barco because he's sick. I've watched him for the last 18 months or whatever it's been, and whenever I've watched Strasbourg, because we've got loaned players there or whatever, just because of a sort of interest, because they're linked to Chelsea, he's the one. I know people got really excited about Panicelli, and of course Omega is coming to Chelsea, but every time I watch them, the two players that I watch and go, wow, is Diego Moreira, who we got for free and sold to them for £1 million or something, nothing. He's developed amazingly there, but in terms of the true class in that team, it's Barco. It is. Would he do it? He could play. He's a fullback that can invert into midfield. He can start in midfield. He's a modern player. Could he do it? Could he come back to the Prem and be physical? I don't know. But in terms of watching what he can do with a football, it's very nice. It's very nice stuff in theory. To end as well, Cucurella, Fabrizio Romano spoke about Marc Cucurella. Chelsea understood the message Cucurella was sending them. There you go. Cucurella expressed concern with an Athletic interview. Now, Rosenia was like, he wished he could feel comfortable to talk to them about it, but they're not too upset with Cucurella, and they've understood the message he was sending. I'm happy at Chelsea, but we are concerned about the older players. He's 27 now. We're concerned about what's being built around us because we want to win now. Not, oh, Madrid, kissy vibes. So he was like, Cucurella is totally committed to Chelsea. Cucurella wants to see an improvement on the foundations built, and Chelsea and Rosinia understand that message. Essentially what they're doing is saying, Cucurella's message good, Enzo Fernandez's message bad. And if you look at previous behaviours of the characters, it might make a little bit more sense. Look, it's been a long video. It's been going to be over half an hour. But I wanted to follow up with the fallout, man. Because it's been like pretty heavy fallout, really. If you consider just what happens. It's just a panic briefing from Chelsea. A sort of, not panic, but like a sort of really assertive Javier Pastore stuff. I reckon he probably mentioned to the Athletic he's willing to speak to them. But yeah, man, heavy stuff. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Multiple daily content, of course. Second channel, Football Yannick, where mercifully I don't have to freaking speak about Chelsea. So consider going to check out Football Yannick as well. Over 20k subs now, which I'm delighted about. Try and relax, guys. And I'll see you later. Take care. Peace.